And when it comes to coaching, that's something you were talking about. What are the ticket sizes per day like, or per assignment like?
See, coaching is never one-time event. If a true improvement is to be seen by the client and by the individuals, because this works two ways, right? When I say
Right.
two ways, there are two approaches, if I may call it. So, unlike in a training where you are mostly invited by the clients or you go and sell a product, coaching may happen at an individual level where an individual might reach out to you and say, hey, I'm struggling on these three aspects or these two aspects, and I need your assistance, I need your support, I need you to coach me. And the second aspect is when the client calls you and says that we have to address these parts. It's the value that you bring and it's the expertise and the experience that you bring to the table. It'll not
Correct.
make sense, right?
Yeah.
So there has to be that intellectual bandwidth that has to match as well. So 5,000 per hour, 4,000 per hour goes as high as I have engaged my resources to as high as 1.1 lakh per hour as well. But the value that you get is tremendous.
Right.
दिल्ली में
Wow.
कहावत है जय, जितना गुड़ डालोगे उतना मीठा बनेगा.
Wow.
Right.
I actually want to do this before my children are in high school. I want them to touch, see, feel the content. I believe that from STEM subjects onwards, if you're able to do that in a three-dimensional environment, learn it, you comprehend it better, you retain it better. And this entire competitive coaching thing that's happening, right, are India's fixation to exams. That will mean something at the end, our next gen, able to literally have a debate on, let's say, calculus, integration, their application levels, right? I think that's when we've arrived.
See, for us, it's the youth unemployment. Eventually, if I were to look at, that's what we want to solve. And I love when you say that you want your kids to feel that tangibility. We want them to understand, prepare a 3D roadmap. What will happen if I get into this? Let me spend a day, right? So there
Right.
will be virtual booths over there. There will be networking simulation. There is so much more that the mixed AI that you built. The possibilities are amazing.
Welcome to the Immersive Edge podcast powered by mix3d. This is where the who is who of learning and development, human resources, corporate trainers, and training companies come to share their work and experience. If you are looking to join the learning and development industry, or if you're an educational content creator or buyer, this podcast is for you. Our guest today has been in the learning and development industry for over a decade and a half, from operations management, project management, finance, and leadership training programs. Improvise Consulting, the company he promotes, offers a wide range of services to corporate houses and campuses. It's totally my pleasure to be in conversation with Mr. Gunjan Jha. Mr. Gunjan Jha, welcome to the Immersive Edge podcast. How are you doing today?
Good. Couldn't have been better. Thank you so much for inviting today, Jay. Really appreciate, man.
Total pleasure is ours. And thank you so much for taking the time out. I know you live in Delhi. Delhi or Noida?
Delhi.
Delhi, proper Delhi.
Proper Delhi, yes.
Brilliant. And I remember, we going to Infosys to do training programs when we worked at OnTrack, right?
Yes.
We had a lot of time between Ulsur and Electronic City,
Absolutely.
and the stories that you would tell. And your dad was in the Air Force, right? So you had the opportunity to live across the country.
That is right. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and you
Thankfully,
tell me
OnTrack took
stories.
care of that passion and kept me traveling a lot of places as well. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's something about OnTrack, that everybody there has had international exposure.
That is true. Yes.
Yeah, and some great content that we actually managed to take to so many participants.
True, true, true.
For the viewers, I just wanted to bring this up, Gunjan. So, in this podcast is largely viewed by people from learning and development, human resources, and people who want to join the learning and development industry,
Oh, good. Good.
right? So, the main focus is going to be about understanding the industry from your perspective
Okay.
and what you do, right? So we might ask you some tough questions, and you can choose not to answer them. But I'll anyway try my luck. You know,
So
why
I've
are
got
friends
water and
for?
tissue with me, so we're all set
Yeah.
with that.
So Gunjan, tell me, how is Delhi treating you, and how is the learning and development scene there?
Delhi, so at heart, I'm still a Bangalorean, right? I once you can take me out of Bangalore, but not the Bangalorean inside me. I like
Right.
Delhi. It's a good place, eventful place. I like it. I like the food scene over here.
Yeah.
The second question that you asked is, so let me just stick to that about how is Delhi treating me. The second part you said is how is the training scene.
Correct.
I think the variety, I would say, the diversity that we have in the training need is much more here, simply because the kind of industries that we have, right? Within, if I'm standing at the Delhi Gurgaon border, 40 kilometers radius, you will have right from an ITS to a car manufacturing plant to a soap manufacturing to a tire manufacturing to a bus manufacturing. So pretty much all the industries, all the products that you can think of, you can find. So the training need also changes, and that keeps a facilitator, that keeps a trainer on their toes, because they cannot say that I have been doing it for 15 years or I have been doing it for 10 years, and hence I am the master of it, because it's pretty much like India. Every 50 kilometers, they say the dialect changes.
Yeah.
Over
So
here,
does everything. Yeah.
every floor, the requirement, people changes. Absolutely.
No, you're right. You're right. I remember DLF. There was a Schneider and there was an Amex in the same building. Yeah, I know what you're
Exactly.
saying. That the diversity of clientele and huge clients. Trust me, and on average, if you
Yes,
notice each floor, they might be the smallest company might be a 5,000 crore company. You know.
absolutely. And you won't have heard of it. General public. So, if I can
Yeah.
quickly take a minute. So, I was here for a session last month, early last month, and I had never heard of that client before, never in my life. They reached out, we did the training, and when I reached out, when I went over there, I realized what a huge organization they are. People have been there for 14, 15 years. And they themselves are saying, our parents are sick and tired. They're saying, Kisi ne naam nahi suna beta is company ka, why are you working? Right? But that's a 4,000 crore company, right?
Only. Yeah.
Only. I forgot to add. We are in Delhi. Only. Extremely important.
Absolutely. I mean, Delhi, one thing that people in Delhi and Mumbai, they keep telling this, right? I mean, Delhi doesn't understand anything which is small, Even the houses have to be large. And the guys in
True.
Mumbai are like, what do you do with so much land?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Everything in
Yes.
Delhi is super size, Everything has to be big, bigger, biggest. Yeah, there's a capital of our country. Naturally, it should be. And that diversity in the number of clients that you can serve, that is a point that I never thought of, because largely when I looked at about the 58 customers that I have served, right, in the last 14 years, majority of them were the IT, ITES, very little manufacturing, right?
Yes.
The diversity in Bangalore, and naturally, I mean, come on, if you're in the Bay Area, then you know what you're going to get. It's the same thing,
True.
right? Oh, brilliant. So how is Hyderabad? You've lived in Hyderabad as well, right, for some time?
Yes. Yes.
How's that scenario there? Is it also largely like Bangalore because we had similar trajectories, or is that diverse?
I think it's more or less like Bangalore, I would say. I have lived there for a very short period. I think it was close to an year and a half.
Okay.
And the exposure over there were more or less like Bangalore. And you can relate very well because the kind of people that you will find in Bangalore will be pretty much the kind of people you will find in Hyderabad as well.
Right.
So I remember having a conversation with you some 15 years ago
Mm-hmm.
where I had made an observation and I shared with you about, I don't know if you recall, but it was about the speed of escalators in cities.
Hmm.
So I saw there's a great similarity in the speed of escalator in Mumbai, Hong Kong, right? Those two cities. And the speed of escalator in Hyderabad was much slower. So
Okay.
that, the speed, the ease, थोड़ा chill है जिंदगी में. When we are talking about Hyderabad, people are calm. They're it's okay if things are not moving at the desired at the speed of light. It's all right. Mumbai, on the other end, is completely different, right? Mumbai and Delhi, I would say, in terms of clientele, I would say it's the same.
Okay.
Decision making is much faster in Mumbai, though,
Agreed.
right?
And I remember one of our colleagues. He was in the sales team. I won't name him because I've not taken his
Sure.
permission. He says, "दिल्ली में आओगे, sales करोगे, samosa, kachori, chai मिलेगा." Right?
Yes.
Mumbai doesn't have the time for you. They'll give you that 10-15 minutes. काम की बात हो जाएगी. They'll say, "Okay, good. I'll see you."
Yes. Yes.
That's
Yes.
the
Yes.
difference.
Yes. Elevator pitch has to be everywhere, man, in Mumbai.
Yeah, yeah.
Delhi is different. भाईचारा, प्यार मोहब्बत से बहुत काम होता है. So in Mumbai, it's different. It's you come here. What do you want? Do I have the need? Is it match? Does it match? Yes. Let's go on. Let's sign the deal. That's it. So sometimes you can close the deal within half an hour, 15 minutes also. In Delhi, on the other hand, it can take half a month also.
Yeah.
तो या फिर मिलते हैं, एक और बार आइए, फिर मिलते हैं, डीएलएफ कॉफी शॉप में बैठते हैं, बात करते हैं. सो या सो इट्स गुड. पीपल आर नाइस, नो डाउट अबाउट इट एवरीवेयर. लेकिन वो
Yeah.
जो एक डिसीजन मेकिंग का प्रोसेस है वो थोड़ा लंबा चलता है. सो या
So, for the viewers who are actually looking forward to joining the industry, can you tell us a little more about the company that you founded? And I'm going to also take you through your origin story a little bit. When we met, I also saw you, before you kind of deep dived into the training world, you also had a stint with retail. You had a stint with running a restaurant, right?
Right.
And then you started a consulting firm called Improvise Consulting, which you continue to run to this date, right?
That is right.
Tell us about that learnings that you picked along the way. And I know that you come up with some amazing examples, so don't stop yourself. Go for it.
The pressure has been built. Thank you so much. So this was 2012 January, right? So it was around that time that I decided that I need to get out of the job and I need to do something on my own. I don't think I need to mention that I was in Bangalore that time, so and hence that need to get out of the job, right? But anyways, so I formed Improvised Consulting as a pure play training company. Somewhere around as we were going ahead with that, I wanted to get into retail. I wanted to get into hospitality. These are two areas that I really love. I come from hospitality management, my background. So we did form a retail company, clothing to be specific, and this was in the year 2012 itself, somewhere around mid-year. Love for training never faded, actually, right? Whomever we met at that point of time, to anything to do with training. We actually, on the way, I also started pitching training, right? So it was a weird combination. I'm going to Thailand. I went to the government office in Thailand. We spoke about exports, etc. And I pitched in, I gave them some ideas about, training within their own team, etc. Anyway, so 2014 is when we decided, when I had my partner with the retail firm, so we decided to shut that down. Post that, I moved to Delhi. As I'm saying, my affair with training continued all this while. Uh, Pre-COVID, in Delhi, we found a cloud kitchen. I think
Okay.
it was at its peak, the need for different kind of cuisine. So I took that leap. We ran till about COVID. COVID hit us really hard. So that's when we stopped. We took an exit. It was rather a forced exit because the situations were such.
Yeah, I think
And
it was a
so
total bloodbath
it was.
during.
It was absolutely. But here's something interesting that happened, right? Because in retail we were catering to a segment which would not necessarily go to a roadside shop, to say, right?
Right.
We were catering to a segment who were office goers and would prefer premier clothing, good clothing, stylish, something that's acceptable. That exposure allowed me entry into a lot of luxury segment. For example, some of the luxury cars, I could relate because the thought process, when the training head was talking to him about what kind of clients, I could relate, and that person could relate very well with where I'm coming from. So that worked very well. Same thing with the restaurant business, because a lot of when we went to FMCG or when we went to some of these food retail outlets when they needed training, the background helped. Right, the background, the exposure helped greatly. So yeah, I would say these were something I never thought of. It went on, but these worked as a blessing in disguise. Yeah,
It adds up. Nothing goes for a waste.
nothing goes for a waste. Everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have to strike a deal with a retailer and he knows that you're speaking his language,
Yes.
then he
Yes.
believes that you're from the industry, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
very interesting. And is there, like, for example, um, when you reach out to a client, what kind of training programs does Improvise offer?
Well, I would say my experience, my expertise comes from the operations. I was a part of operations for a good 5.5 years before I took the leap into the training industry.
Right.
How I took that leap is another interesting story for another day, perhaps.
Okay.
So the very first thing that we definitely talk to them about is, and when we say operations, I think once you have spent a few years, you understand people very well. You understand the dynamics. You understand the
Yeah.
client aspect of it. You understand the behavioral aspect of it. You understand the quality aspect of it. So anything and everything to do with operation management is something that we do very well. Uh, my stint with retail, my stint with hospitality, with the restaurant business, also allowed me to hone my sales skills. Right. So that's another thing that we pitch. That's another thing that we work on the sales part of it. Whether it's product or service, we really do really well with the service sales part. Product, we have partners, we have people right
Got
from
it.
motor sales to chemical sales to real estate. We have done it all. And then we have some of these requirements, the most common one being the communication skills.
Wow.
I think that's a used and abused terminology. Right.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I will not get into the detail of what exactly, but yeah, so leadership aspect,
Largely.
negotiations, yes, more or less.
Largely leadership. Oh, got it. So ops,
Yes.
sales, communications, and leadership. All right. Don't mind me asking, this is for the people who want to join us. What is the kind of market size that there exists, you know, in your city for these kind of programs?
That's an interesting question.
Like, for example, I was speaking to Mr. Sunil Kumar. He runs an organization called Knowledge Capital Solutions. They've been in this for over 19 years, technical training.
Right.
So he was saying in India alone, about 3,500 crores is the value of just technical training programs.
Yes, yes. Technical training,
Right.
yes, absolutely.
Uh, then he was able to carve out, the organized sector, the big boys, and then that unorganized sector, which is taking the rest of it. Right. It's a very informative session that we went through. So in
Right.
this space, like in ops, sales could be one of those big ticket items for you, right?
Correct.
People are
Correct.
willing to kind of
Oh,
spend on
absolutely.
this,
Yes.
right? So if you can, kind of give us a context of what is the market like? Is there space for new entrants? How much can they look for a per day ticket size? Is it per
Right.
participant? Is it per day? You can give us some insights into that. That'll be great.
Sure. So I'll be revealing a lot in terms of the the
Go
monetary
for
part
it.
of it, but let's go nonetheless. I think if it helps newcomers, so I think the entry into the newcomers, Jay, started. It was pretty much like floodgates opened during COVID, right? The number of trainers, self-proclaimed ones as well as pure play trainers, they started making their presence felt on LinkedIn at a massive scale. Whether it was as we say majburi thi ya choice tha, because a lot of companies had to shut down, and the immediate one that they could do, all they had to do is have an internet connection and a laptop with a good camera and the ability to speak, and they said we are trainers, right? Unfortunately, it's not as easy as it
Yeah.
sounds. There is a grind that you have to go through. Uh, is there scope for more people? Absolutely. Absolutely. More the merrier, I would say, because it allows for our clients to get a taste, right? Um, I'll possibly have a story for later part of the
Sure.
podcast. So I'll give you, actually, let me talk about it. So here was a client that we signed a deal with in Hyderabad, and decent amount of money that the client had, the market cap and everything. So the typical structure, you know how it works. The training function, the L&D function, they'll have a negotiation, and then they will hand over to the procurement team, and they will
Procurement.
try their strategies. So this gentleman comes and says, Gunjan, you're charging too much. You're charging, and that time I had, because it was a long-term assignment for about 6 months, we we struck a good deal about, for them it was a pretty good deal because we were charging around 32,000 per day, right? And we had series of workshops. He says, Gunjan, this is too much. We are giving you in next 6 months, we are going to give you around 75 days of work, 75 to 80, and it's a lot that you're asking. I said, okay. And in the same breath, he says, I have got trainers who will do it for 10,000, right? But and I said, absolutely. Actually, you know what? He's cheating you. That person who is charging you 10,000, I think is charging too much. Let me recommend someone who will charge you just 5,000. And I think
There goes
that
the
will do
negotiation.
wonders. Yeah. So I said, आपको तो वो I think आपके साथ वो झूठ बोल रहा है. 10,000 बहुत ज़्यादा ले रहा है. मैं 5,000 में I'll give you someone at 5,000. I'm just thinking what will be the next response, and poor guy got the message, thankfully, right? So the reason is the person also knows what will he or she get at 10,000, right?
Right.
And what will you get when you're spending a certain amount, right? Is there a scope? Coming back, is there a scope? Yes, there is scope. However, start from the bottom, right?
Okay.
If you're someone who has, because I've seen a lot of young blood, they finish 3 years in the corporate life and they think they've sorted out their life and they want to get into training. Sure, by all means do that. Do not aim to start addressing the GMs and AGMs and VPs for your training. Do not say that I can conduct training for them, because as our parents used to say, उन्होंने दुनिया देखी है,
Correct. Yeah.
right?
True.
They have been there. They've climbed. वो एक एक सीढ़ी चढ़ के गए हैं. There's nothing new that you can tell them, and hence go slow, go steady, and you will. And at the same time, focus on certifications. Focus on understanding you want to get into training, you want to get into coaching, or you want to do both, right?
Correct.
Coaching has picked up a lot of how should I say, popularity. It has gained a lot of popularity in last 7 8 years. It was slated to be around 10 to 15 billion dollar industry by 2020, if I remember it right, and it actually crossed that. And there are
Uh-huh.
reputed institutes, bodies in the world, ICF being one of them, that certifies you to be a coach. Similarly, in ISTD, there is a body in India that government of India has that certifies you to be a trainer. So go through that path, and the success, it will be propelled. Your skill, your abilities will be
Correct.
propelled. I don't know if that answers, Jay, or did I take the
No,
long
it
path
doesn't.
to answer your
No, no, you
question?
didn't. I think you've given us those numbers. You've given us that this is a spectrum, like in most
Yes.
markets, right? Most evolved markets, you'll be able to find for every category there's something,
Yes.
right? So yeah, tell us, is does the same thing apply to your sales trainings as well? Sales training, I think the ticket size would be much higher than a 32K.
Much, much higher. Absolutely much higher. So you learn to work on the appetite of your client over a period of time. And you know it, you have been in the training, so you know a lot of factors are at play. And if I may call this as a carrot, I know it's a very strong word, but one carrot that we constantly get is ek karke dikhao. We have
हाँ,
so many
बाद में
people,
देखेंगे. Right,
right?
right.
So that the hope peddler, right? That is something that is prevalent in across industries, across companies. So ticket
Right.
size for sales is pretty good. Bigger the product, let's look at it that way, right? The ticket size of the product, as big as it is, it's directly proportionate to what they're willing to spend on increasing the sales efficiency of their people,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
Makes
that
sense.
that's that gives you. So if a medical equipment company will have a good budget, because you sell one Mercedes or you sell four Maruti cars or five Maruti cars, so
Yeah.
the effort that they want to pay, that they want to put, is much bigger, much higher.
So, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And when it comes to coaching, that's something you were talking about. What are the ticket sizes per day like, or per assignment like?
See, coaching is never a one-time event, right? If a true improvement is to be seen by the client and by the individuals, because this works two ways, right? When I say
Right.
two ways, there are two approaches, if I may call it. So, unlike in a training where you are mostly invited by the clients or you go and sell your product, coaching may happen at an individual level, where
Correct.
an individual might reach out to you and say, hey, I'm struggling on these three aspects or these two aspects, and I need your assistance, I need your support, I need you to coach me. And the second aspect is when the client calls you and says that we have to address these parts. Ticket size for coaching may be as low as, I would say, 5,000, 4,000, 5,000 per hour. And it
Okay.
goes, then sky is the limit, right?
Okay.
I
It's the
have
value you bring.
is a value that you bring, and is the expertise and the experience that you bring to the table, right? So when I get, so I have a resource pool when it comes to coaching, where if the client wants their team leaders to be coached, I will not bring the ex CEO of, let's say, Star or Sun or somewhere. That's
Right.
not the
Of course.
best use of that person's time, and maybe half of the
Correct.
concept that this person will talk about will just bounce off. It'll not
Correct.
make sense, right?
Yeah.
So there has to be that intellectual bandwidth that has to match as well. So 5,000 per hour, 4,000 per hour goes as high as I have engaged my resources to, as high as 1.1 lakh per hour as well. But the value that you get is tremendous.
Right.
दिल्ली में
Wow.
कहावत है, जय, जितना गुड़ डालोगे उतना मीठा बनेगा,
Wow.
right? So yeah, that's what it
Coming
is.
from good Gava.
Gurgaon.
So, I have an observation to make.
Please.
Usually people from corporate training scale up to coaching, executive coaching, blah, blah, blah.
Yes. Yes.
And you have, and for all the right reasons, moved towards K-12
Yes.
with your work as operations head at Career 9.
Yes.
Why did you make that move?
Interesting transition. And I think that was a very good, I never thought of it that, yes, we go upwards, I'm going down. It was a conscious move,
Okay.
right? When we say go down, I think um, grassroots, I think we need to go to the root level and figure out कि मेरा पेड़ ठीक से क्यों नहीं उग रहा, right? I've had the opportunity to train slash coach slash consult with close to 32,000 people in last 17 years, right? And that gave me an opportunity to meet people right from Chennai, Kerala, up to Kashmir, Gujarat to Manipur and Assam and West Bengal on this side, Chhattisgarh, Mumbai. So I've had the opportunity to visit around 21 states in India, meet people. I've had the opportunity to also meet students in early years where I saw them moving from, we run something and pretty much all the companies run campus to corporate, right?
Right.
So there was a fundamental problem, and it was painful to see a lot of times that engineers from, let's say, tier 2 college in a tier 1 city are joining a BPO,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or
Serious.
a lawyer has joined in a similar industry, or a dentist, or there are so many people. And basically what I'm saying is there was a mismatch, right? Massive mismatch. We started the study, if I may call it, and started looking at the data since November. It's been actually 2 years, October, November of 2022, as to what's happening. Why is it happening? One of my ex-client, he's a gentleman based out of USA. He's in the Silicon Valley. He has fair share of success, startup scene. So we started talking. There was a fundamental problem. Skill mismatch tha. People were making the career choices. And India, we all know the primary career choice is mummy papa,
Correct.
right? So papa bolenge, jo mummy bolengi. There is a societal pressure that is over there.
Sharma ji ka
Sharma
ladka.
ji ka, there we go, right? So Sharma ji ka ladka. Um, that is something that we want to solve, and India is slated to be on this path, on this success path, and we have given the maximum number of CEOs. Lekin success stories are limited. We want to make that big. We want to ensure that every child and makes the right career choice. So there are two parts, right? So one is that the person makes right career choice. We have built assessments around it. We have used multiple dimensions, right, from interest, the intelligence, the personality, to the values, and then we chart out a career path for a kid based on, because I want to become a pilot, right? But ask me, um, 2 times 8, and I'm struggling, right? Clearly, there is some disconnect. So we want to work on that. And so we are, we just finished an event last week at DY Patil, Patna, and we are doing around 5 more events this month, month of October, across Pune, Chhattisgarh, and Patna. So we are pretty excited. We are absolutely bullish on where we are going. The second part of Career 9 is something, my love for training still remains. So generative AI is the most in thing, in demand thing, and unfortunately, what's happening is everyone wants to take a holy dip into this.
Right.
Unfortunately, not many people know what exactly it's all about. It's a good thing to say, Gen AI. So we are working on it. We have already tied up with two universities in Uganda, and we are working with multiple universities. We are talking to them, so we are pretty hopeful. We are very confident that we are going to make some changes on that front as well.
Oh,
So yeah,
brilliant. So it's looking like a very interesting 2024-25 fiscal year.
it is. It is. Yes, we are. The target is to finish around 5,000 students by the end of December, which is next one quarter, and we are, by the looks of the numbers, we will cross that number. Will cross that number. Yeah.
Please accept our best
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
compliments from us. You're welcome to leverage Mix3D for
Yes.
this project of yours.
Yes, yes, because I already am working with my team to see how best we can use mixed reality or mixed AI platform, and we have got some fantastic ideas. We'll talk offline about that.
Absolutely, because
Yeah.
especially the K-12 space, right? I
Yes.
remember Ravi Venkatesan once told me this, that the bigger the training industry market cap actually
Yes.
shows the inefficiencies of our foundational training.
Yes.
It's
Absolutely.
actually very, very true.
Yes.
So if our system really worked, the way it's supposed to, I think over a period of time, what you would need would be very adaptive training to your product, your
Yes.
service, and
Yes.
but today we're like reinventing the entire system in classrooms or virtually, right?
Yes. Yes.
I believe that if we have to solve the K-12 problem, and I want to do this before my kids, are in high school, running out of time. I actually want to do this before my children are in high school. Yeah, I'm of course running out of time, and I want them to touch, see, feel the content. I mean,
Yes.
we never had that opportunity,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
I believe that from STEM subjects onwards, if you're able to do that in a three-dimensional environment,
Yes.
you learn it, you comprehend it better, you retain it better.
Yeah.
And this entire competitive coaching thing that's happening, right, are India's fixation to exams. That'll mean something at the end, because I've noticed, kids after finishing an exam, few days after that, you call them and say, "Hey, do you remember this?" They say, "No, no, हमने तो exam के लिए पढ़ा था."
Yes.
That's not even knowledge. It's just memory retrieval and just put it out on a sheet of paper.
That's it.
Imagine our next gen, able to literally have a debate on, let's say, calculus, integration, their application levels, right? I think that's when we've arrived. So I'm offering you a free community license for Career 9 to go ahead and explore, whatever content you want to build. Storage is on us. The subscription is on us. We hope
Beautiful.
that you'll be able to share this with the rest of the world. And I only have one gross. You're doing all of this in a continent, which the African continent. So I think, or I hope you will ensure that this content that you build is available for Indians as well.
Oh, it's for everyone. It's for everyone what
Superb.
we're building. See, for us, it's the youth unemployment. Eventually, if I were to look at, that's what we want to solve, and that starts right from K-12, as you said, right?
Absolutely.
And I love when you say that you want your kids to feel that tangibility, right?
Correct.
We want to go when we are advising someone to take make career choices. We want them to understand, have prepare a 3D roadmap, right? Have interactive career trees. What will happen if I get into this? Let me spend a day, right? So there
Right.
will be virtual booths over there. There will be networking simulation. There is so much more that
Yeah.
the mixed AI that you built. The possibilities are amazing, and
Absolutely.
And I would love to. I'll take you on this. I'll take you on your promise. It's on record now, man. You cannot go back.
Yeah, and I can't go back. So we are happy to welcome Career 9 and Improvise Consulting on mix3d.ai. And there have been some interesting updates on the product. We've started adding a bot element so that you can guide kids or anybody, the
Beautiful,
users, through it. And
beautiful.
we've also included a story magic component, which
Okay,
is generative AI again, which
fantastic.
so you can actually do your prompt saying, I want to educate people in this age group, all right,
Right,
in the
right.
concept of, let's say, calculus, and I wish to cover the list of concepts you wish to cover. Please build it in a story format, and I give you 15 story points. I mean,
Okay,
models. You
models,
can
formats.
choose,
Right.
like your monomyth, right? Like your spark lines. We have 15 such, story models that you can choose. The
Yeah.
one that excites you, that can be converted into scenes on the Mix3D platform. So you do
That's
your
nice.
planning on Story Magic,
Yeah.
and Story Magic will actually create those scenes for you on mix3d.ai.
That's
So
brilliant. That's brilliant.
Jan 2025.
That's
That's when the,
fantastic. Yeah. Another aspect, actually, Jay, that we are also building on right now is I would hate to call it soft skills. I would like to, we have named it human skills, right? Something that kids need to possess. And I emphasized on needs because there are no two ways about it. You need to learn how to collaborate better.
absolutely.
You need to know how to communicate, how to network. There was an article 3 days back where I was reading that the CEOs are actually firing the millennials, the Gen Z kids now, not millennials, the Gen Z kids, because and the average is 2 years. They're not able to manage them very well now. They're not able to get them to communicate well, network well, solve problems well. The generation I'm looking at in maybe 2027 onwards that leaves the school and joins the college and thereafter the workforce. My dream, like your dream, is for your kids to have that tangibility. My dream is to ensure, or Career 9, we dream that these kids will go there much more in a state where they are sort of a plug and play. They are much more productive. Uh, the time taken to network, the time taken to communicate, the time taken to solve problems, it's much faster,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
work gets done faster.
right.
Yeah, that's the dream. That's the dream. Yeah,
And let's make it happen, Gunjan.
absolutely, man.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so much. Thank you so much for taking the time out to, give us your journey, your perspective. And I know there's a lot more episodes in you, but let this be just a trailer.
Sounds good to me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you inviting me today. And it was
Pleasure.
awesome. It was actually awesome to share some of the bits. I hope it helps some of our budding trainers.
It
Yeah.
certainly will. Thank you,
All right.
and hope to see you in person soon.
Same here, man. See you soon. Thank you so much, Jay.